Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi, Maseches BECHOROS, Daf Lamed Gimel. We begin at the Mishnah on Lamed Beis, Amud Beis, which is 8 lines from the bottom of the Amud. So now we know that a Bechor is given to a Kohen. But who eats the Bechor? So it really depends. If it's an unblemished Bechor Tam, the Kohen is meant to process it as a carbon in the Beis HaMikdash. However, if the Bechor lands a mum, a blemish, or nowadays where the blemish root is really the only option, so now it's a blemished Bechor, you can just shecht it, pretty much like any other animal, and eat it. And the question is, who gets to eat it? Is it only meant for Kohanim? Or anybody else is allowed to partake in this Bechor? We have a machlokes between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Says the Mishnah, Beis Shammai Oimrim, Lo yimane Yisrael makoyin, Yisrael should not be invited together with the Kohen, with the Kohanim, to partake in the Bechor, to partake in the Bechor. Despite the fact that it's a balmum, it's meant exclusively for Kohanim to consume. Beis Hillel, no, matir, they allow even a Yisrael to partake. Va'afilo, and even oived kechavim, even a guy. Says the Gemara Masnissen. So this presentation of Beis Hillel, that even a guy is allowed to partake. Masnissen Mani, who's speaking in this Mishnah? Whose sheet, whose position is reflected here? Masnissen Mani Rabbi Kiva, yes, Rabbi Kiva's version of Beis Hillel. Rabbi Kiva, the Sani, we have a machlokes and a brisa as well. Bechor, who gets to eat a Bechor? Ein nimnin alav el chabur shel kol kohanim. Only a group of kohanim can, join together to have the Bechor. Divrei Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel loimrim afilu zorim. Beis Hillel allow even non-kohanim. Rabbi Kiva mater takes it a step further. He allows even a guy afilu kechavim, as per the Shita and our Mishnah as well. Okay, so now we have 3 opinions in terms of who consumes a Bechor Balmu. Beis Shammai, only Kohanim. Beis Hillel in the Brisa, only non-Kohanim, but only Yisrael, only Yidden. According to Rabbi Kiva's version of Beis Hillel, even a Goy. Now for the sources. My time with the Beis Shammai, why do Beis Shammai insist that only a Kohen partakes in a Bechor? The Pasuk says, regarding the Bechor, of Sarim Yelacha, so it's granting the Kohanim the rights to the Basar of the Bechor, and the Pasuk equates it to other items which are parts of Karbonis, Kachazei HaTnufa, Kashar Kayamin. So we compare the Bechor to the Chaz of a Shaykh, of a Karban. And just like over there, we know it's only meant for Kohanim. Ma'asam Kohanim in, only Kohanim can partake. Yisrael Loi, only a Kohen, not a Yisrael. Why? Says Rashi on the bottom line, T'chsiv at u'banecha, u'bneisecha itcha. The Chaz of a Shaykh is meant only for Kohanim. Avhacha here as well by the Bechor, it's meant only for Kohanim. Kohanim in, but Yisrael Loi. We continue on to the next Amud. Beis Hillel, they respond, true, the Torah does equate the Bechor to those items of Karbanos, which are for Kohanim only, but you know which Bechor? The unblemished Bechor, which is deemed a Karban, of course. That has higher status, that's only meant for a Kohen. Beis Hillel, they respond, that's true by a Tam, al ba'mum, but by a blemished Bechor. The Pasuk has a different equation there. Except the Pasuk equates it, we'll see later, equates it to a tzvi, va'ayo, and the Pasuk says, anybody can, even a Tameh. Right? The Pasuk says, "Hatamei v'atar yachtav yichlanu." Right? Aval ba'amum, ksib ba'amum. It says, "Hatamei v'atar yachtav." So it's meant even for a tamei. So what do we see? Even a tamei can eat it. Of course, a Yisrael. Listen to this logic. A fellow who's tamei, he can't partake in any sort of carbon, kachim kal, even shlamim, Pesach, things which are lower level karbanis. A tamei can't partake. So despite the fact that he can't partake there, oichel b'bechor, you'll agree based on this pasuk that a tamei can eat bechor. Certainly a zar. His only issue is that he's not a kohen, who has an advantage. He can partake in kachim kalim. Rashi says shlomim mas or Pesach. So if a zar can partake in kachim kalim, which a tamei cannot. And then, wouldn't you agree? Of course, sheyachal b'bechor can partake in a bechor. If a tamei could, of course he could, because he stands higher than a bechor. Well, you could refute this logic by saying, you know why a tamei can? Mala tamei can hutar mechlalo k'kayin. A tamei. We make an exception for a tamei. Sometimes he's allowed to be involved in karbanis by by a public offering. There's no, kohen who's tahir, and everybody's tamei. So even a tamei can do a carbon. So he has that advantage over a Yisrael who can never do avodah. So perhaps that would explain why he can access a bechor which a Yisrael can't. They respond, no, we're not talking about serving the mikdash. In the context of avodah, you're right. The tamei has an advantage over. We're talking about eating. In the context of consumption, we don't find. Actually, we find that a zar has an advantage over a tamei. They respond, atu. By avodah kama, we're talking about serving in the mikdash. By achila kama, we're talking about eating a carbon. Achila zar radaf. And regarding achila, zar stands higher than a tamei who can never eat a carbon. And if a tamei is allowed access to a bechor, of course, a zar, Israel could as well. Rabbi Kiva takes it a step further. Mata afilav kichav, even a guy can eat a bechor. Afilav kichav, my time, Rabbi Kiva. Why? Because we find that the Torah equates the psuli hamikdashim, right? The blemished karbanis, to tzvi v'ayil, types of animals from the chaya family, right? Which are never, karbanis. Certainly, a guy has access to all those, right? So he says the reason why the Torah compared is to teach you. Just like the guy can access those, he can access this. My time to Rekiva, why? Because tzvi v'ayil. Compared to tzvi v'ayil ma. Tzvi v'ayil, just like those items, mutar, are accessible live to as well. Absolutely. Af bechor. Here too, mutar live is good for a guy as well. Mutar live v'idach, now the Tanakama, who had a different version of Beisila, where we don't allow a guy. What happened to Katzvi v'ayil? It's needed for other halach. It teaches other halach. Idach tlas tzvi v'ayil ksivi. Actually, it says tzvi v'ayil 3 times, and each one has a purpose, and nothing's available to teach you to give the guy access to the blemished bechor. Tlas tzvi v'ayil ksivi. One chad is needed like Rabbi Yitzchak, Rabbi Aishia, for one halacha regarding crossbreeding, the psula mikdashim, we got malchus, it's like a mix of 2 species, it's which we discussed elsewhere. V'chad l'krab HaKapar, another halacha regarding psula mikdashim that Rabbi HaKapar promoted, that just like the psula mikdashim, the blemished karbanos need to be shechted, as the pasuk clearly says, v'zavachta. Same thing with tzvi v'ayil. So chayis need shchita. V'idach na third is to teach us tzvi v'ayil p'tur min b'chor, just like tzvi v'ayil are chaya family, they're parted from b'chora, which is only for behemoths. Av psula mikdashim p'tur min b'chora. Likewise, a blemished carbon has no obligation regarding b'chora. So if he has a firstborn, there's no. Okay, in any case, we have 3 halachas that are derived from these 3 citations of tzvi v'ayil, leaving none available for the halacha of today to allow a guy access to the bechor. Furthermore, Tan Rabban, we have another brayso on this matter. Bechor, okay, so it's a blemished bechor, which the kohen is shechting, almost as a private animal, as a regular animal. And according to Beis Shammai, it's meant exclusively for Kohanim. Okay, but what if the Kohanim are Tameh? Toner Rabbanan Bechor ein machil isel anidos. A Bechor cannot be offered to a woman who's Tameh, to a Nida. Taisus adds, the same would apply to a man, a Balkari. The point is, that cannot be offered to a fellow who is in a status of tumah, a tumah which is self-generated. Taisus points out, based on the Gemara later, that if it would be tumah that he sort of imported from the outside, he touched something tumah, that wouldn't be an issue here. So we lock out these individuals who are self-generators of tumah, which is a higher level of tumah. It's more personal, it's more active type of tumah. So they're out. Divrei Beis Shammai. Ubeis Hillel, I mean, no problem. Machil Naisil Nidais, you can offer it to Nida as well. Just like any other tumah. My tumah to Beis Shammai. Why do Beis Shammai disallow? The Chsiv of B'sar Milacha. So the pasuk speaking there about a bechor, and the Torah refers to it as something which is comparable to a chazei atznufa and sheik hayam, the portions of a karb and a shlam given to a kain. Likewise, a bechor is equated. It has similar status to those items. And we learn, ma hasam nida isloi, just like over there by the shlamim. It's not appropriate for the nida to eat. Afacha nida isloi likewise. Just like a real carbon is not fed to a nida, even a bechor ba'al mum is off limits. Nida isloi. Ubeis Hillel, they respond, sure, yeah, that pasuk speaking about a proper bechor. Hani mili tam. Yeah, bechor tam is a regular carbon, of course. Aval ba'al mum. But regarding a bechor ba'al mum, we have another pasuk mentioned yesterday. Ha tamei v'atar yechlenu. The pasuk allows tamei and tar to eat it. There's no restrictions. You can give it to a tamei. Ubeis Shammai, they respond, yeah, hani mili, that's only true regarding a lower level tumah, a tumah that you've imported. Hani mili hechad ein tumah yoytol megufay. That's specific to a type of tumah which is not self-generated. A fellow contracted tumah from the outside, he can partake in the bechor. Aval hecha. The tumah yoytol of megufay as opposed to a nida, a zav, balkari, who are self-generators of their own source of tumah. Loy, of course not, because we see elsewhere where the halacha makes this distinction between the lower level of tumah, which is acceptable to a certain extent, versus the higher level of tumah. And likewise over here. Where do we find this? Right? So echa tumah is going loy. The ashchem, as we find, the palag rachamana, the Torah differentiates between these two levels. Bein tumah yotzal megufay, which is the higher level, ulevein, and the lower level. Shein tumah yotzal megufay. Where do we find this distinction? This none. We all know that a carbon Pesach, right? If the whole community is experiencing tumas meis, right? So they process the carbon Pesach despite their tumah status. So you can bring a Pesach b'tumah under these circumstances. However, says the Mishnah Desnan, a Pesach shabbat b'tumah, even a Pesach which was offered in a tumah state, but that's only meant for these types of tmeim, like a tmei meis, as the pasuk says, tamei nefesh. But all these individuals who are self-generators of tumah, zava, metzera, zava, nida, yeledes, they can't partake even in a carbon Pesach, which is bringing processed betumah. Apparently, they're on a different plane of tumah. And likewise over here by the bechor, an ordinary tameh, yeah, but not these individuals. Beis Hillel respond by saying that is true regarding carbon Pesach, where the Torah singles them out. Beis Hillel hasam with the gali rachman, over there the Torah reveals to us that it's only meant for a tamei nefesh, person who touched their mace, where the tumah came from the outside. Aval hacha. So there we disallow the zav and the yeledes, etc. But over here by the bechor, we don't find any such distinctions. Tamei stomach siv. The Torah says, "Ha tamei v'atar yechlenu gzum teheit." There's no stipulation of which type of tamei. Tamei stomach siv. Loishna, it doesn't really matter if you're on level A or level B. So bottom line, a bechor balmum shechted privately by the kohen, who can he feed it to? According to Beis Hillel, even a tamei of the highest level. According to Beis Shammai, not for a tamei hayotze mikufay. Tana Rabbanan. We move on to a similar topic regarding treating a bechor that was shechted, and we're up to the skinning, the flaying of the bechor. Tana Rabbanan, in margilan, you can't do the process called margilan. Rashi explains it's based on the word regel, a leg. Basically, you start flaying from the legs, starting like upside down. You start from the legs and you pull down. You gently peel out the skin, sort of rolling it out without cutting it, without breaking it apart. This way, it comes off, intact, and it's valuable. It can be used for making of pouches, of containers. So it's a pretty elaborate flaying process, which, as we're going to see later in the Gemara, it takes extra effort, and also it comes at the expense of the basar, because you sort of disregard the integrity of the basar in order to salvage this skin in an intact form. So you'll cut away, you'll chop, you'll cut, you'll mince the meat as you focus primarily on the skinning. So this process, is it allowed for a bechor? Is it allowed on psulei mikdashim, meaning a regular carbon which was disqualified by a mum, it was redeemed? Can you skin it this way? What about on Yom Tov? You allowed to shecht on Yom Tov? Could I skin it in this way? To Rabbanan, no. On all three questions. Ein margilan b'Yom Tov, you don't do it on Yom Tov. Kayetze be likewise, ein margilan, you don't do it b'Bechor, and likewise v'loi nor b'psulei mikdashim. Why? Explains the Gemara. B'Shlam Yom Tov, I understand why not on Yom Tov. Because it's an elaborate, laborious procedure which doesn't really provide you gain for today. So you're not allowed to do tircha on Yom Tov for the sake of benefiting tomorrow after Yom Tov. B'Shlam Yom Tov, I understand why not on Yom Tov. To go tarach tircha chazile. He's engaged in this laborious experience which he can't really enjoy today, so it's not allowed. El bechor. What about the bechor? What's wrong with that? You're allowed to skin it. So why not skin it this way and salvage your skin? Mantana, who's the opinion speaking? Amar Chizda Beis Shammai. Oh, that's how it links into our Gemara, right? So we go back to Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai, the Amar tells us that even a bechor b'amum, even after shchita, has very distinct limitations. And since you can't feed tanis, you see that it still retains very strong elements of kedusha. And therefore, says Rashi, just like you can't do this process to a regular carbon, it's bizayon. You're degrading the carbon because, like you said, you're chopping away at the meat, which is the primary edible portion, which is the focal point. You're sort of sacrificing that for the sake of the skin, which is sort of a secondary element, an edible, element of the animal. So it's degrading. It's bizayon. And likewise, even a bechor b'almum, since it has elements of kedusha, has status, you have to treat it honorably. So that's explained. What about the third item? Nor should you flay it in a psulei mikdashim, like a shlamim, which got a mum, it was redeemed. Why? Mantana, who's speaking in this case? Amar Chizda or Rabbi Elazar Shimoni. It's that opinion. This nan, as we're going to see, he holds that psulei mikdashim, even at this late stage in the game, after mum and after pidyon, it still retains a strong element of kedusha, and hence has to be treated accordingly. What do we find? This nan. A fellow had a double chatas. He really sinned once, but somehow he ended up with two. Rashi explains. One became blemished, right? And then later he made himself another one. And it turns out that achas tamima, so the second one is unblemished, ready to go. V'achas balas mum, and the first one was blemished. Tamima tikarev, balas mum tipadet. Okay, so first of all, the tamima, go ahead and process it like a regular chatas. The other one, redeem. There's a halacha that there are chamesh chatois mesois, halacha mesinai. In 5 instances, the carbon chatas will be left to die. Why? One of them is sheniskapru bala b'cheros. So basically, if the owner elected to gain his atonement by way of another chatas and ignore this one now will go lemisa. So the question is, what do we do with the second one here, the balas mum? Is he in trouble once he uses the other one? Is it considered like the owner chose to use that one, not you, and you have to go, you become usher? So it depends. If nishchat balas mum, let's say the Baal Asmum was shech. He went and shechted the Baal Asmum. What happens? Can he eat it or not? It really depends on the timing. If he shechted the Baal Asmum before he processed the unblemished one as a carbon, before he applied the blood in the mizbeach, which is the activator of the kapara. So if he chapta right and he did the Baal Asmum first, with terrorists he can eat it. Rashi explains. And even if he goes ahead and does the zrika on the successful chatas before he eats the flesh of the Baal Asmum, doesn't matter. Rashi says, around 6 lines from the bottom, he says, the sfira landama achar shabos l'chal heter zvicha shuva im ba kedusha Baal Asmum. Once he had the green light to shech the Baal Asmum, that's it. The kedusha sort of dissolves, and these halachas don't apply to it anymore. It can't become asr anymore, just because he chose to use the other one. But suppose first he did the zrika of the blood of the tmima, processed it as a carbon. Before doing the shchita and the Baal Asmum, now it's asur, it's too late. It's asur b'hanoah, says Rashi. Why? Again, Rashi, 5-6 lines from the bottom. It's one of the 5 that go to Misa, which is a case where he chose to take advantage of the other one over this one. Okay, so since he processed the Tmima before he tended to the Baal Asmum, it becomes Asr. But if he did the Shechita and the Baal Asmum first, it's done and over with. It's not part of the equation, it cannot become Asr. That's the Tanakh. But, Reb Lezer, Reb Shimon Omer, takes it a step further. Even after Shechita the Baal Asmum, it still retains its former identity, and it's still subject to these halachas. In which case, if he chooses to process the Tamima before eating the flesh, it's already after Shechita, but he hasn't eaten it yet. Imagine even the flesh of the Baal Asmum has already been shechted. It's sitting in your pot. But it's still before consumption. It's still around. Then he proceeded with the zrika of the Tmima, basically electing to use that one over this one, even though practically can't use this one anymore. It doesn't matter. It's still subject to the same system. Asur, it becomes Asur. So clearly, Reb Shimon attributes great status to even a disqualified carbon after becoming a mum, after pidya, and after shchita. I mean, right? Likewise, says Rashi. Right? So since we see that he's very machmer, he attributes high level of kedusha even after shchita. Back to our story of flaying it in this unique fashion at the expense of the flesh, inappropriate. Hence, the Isra to do margilin by Psulei Mikdashim is in line with this particular opinion, Reb Shimon, that even after Shechita of Psulei Mikdashim, which is the status of this animal, not after Shechita, he's flaying it, you still have to treat it appropriately. Okay, so we have 3 halachas. Don't do it on Yom Tov, tircha. Don't do it by the Bechor, it's Beishamai. Don't do it by Psulei Mikdashim, Reb Shimon. Asked the Gemara of Chizda, who labeled each halacha accordingly, Luk makul k'Beishamai. Why couldn't he simply say that just as Beishamai disallowed this by the Bechor, despite being Balmum, despite could still retain status, the same, let's assume the same by all other Psulei Mikdashim. Why do you have to go look for another shita, Reb Shimon? No, says the Gemara, perhaps you can differentiate between Bechor and regular Psulei Mikdashim. In which case, perhaps all the Beishamai would attribute status to the Bechor Balmum, but perhaps they wouldn't apply same status to the Psulei Mikdashim. That's why we had to look for another shita. Perhaps Ad Kan Lekam Beishamai Ela Bechor. Perhaps Beishamai only applies their strictness by the Bechor to K'Shasem Yirechem, which has an advantage over all Karbanas, as we know. He's born holy. K'Shasem Yirechem, he's naturally holy. Aval Psulei Mikdashim, but an ordinary carbon, it's not naturally holy. You have to commit it to the cause. You have to donate it. You have to verbally make it holy. Dein K'Shasem Yirechem, light, so perhaps doesn't have similar status. Hence, we needed to put a search on, and we located another shita, which is Reb Shimon, who treats the Psulei Mikdashim in this manner as well. Okay, says the Gemara, what about the other way? V'luk makula, we turn to Talmud Bavli. V'luk makula, Rabbi Shimon, maybe Rabbi Shimon would apply the same level to, same status to Bechor as well. So why couldn't he attribute both halachas to him? Bechor and Psula Mikdashim. Says the Gemara once again, there's room to differentiate. There's an element of uniqueness that's found by Psula Mikdashim, not found by Bechor, and that's why this strictness perhaps is limited to that. Duma perhaps Adkan, Loi Ka'amar. Rabbi Lazar Shimon Hassam, perhaps. It's only there by the Psula Mikdashim, Ella Psula Mikdashim, where he requires it to be treated this way. You see, they have a strength in their Kedusha, they can catch on to something given in exchange, like money given in exchange for them. They have that ability to transfer their Kedusha onto money. That indicates strength, versatility. Havel Bechor, as opposed to Bechor, which you can't redeem, doesn't have this redemption ability. The Lo Yolam L'mitvas Pidyon, perhaps it's lacking in its strength, so to speak, to extend over to the Pidyon. Loisa, perhaps, since it has that inferiority, so to speak, it wouldn't have this strictness. And that's why we needed to find a separate, source for each halacha. Ask the Gemara. Hold it. For Rabbi B'Shim, he's of the opinion that a regular Psula Mikdashim has to be treated with utmost respect. You can't flay it this way, right? What about the Mishnah we had? Leslie, does he not hold to the Mishnah that we learned beginning of our Perek? Kol Psula Mikdashim, all types of disqualified karbanos can be sold in the marketplace because they're going to fetch a higher offering, right? If the fellow offering the redemption will anticipate a good profit by being able to sell it in the market, he'll offer a higher, generous offering, right? So you're allowed to sell it and deal with it like any other meat. Kol Psula Mikdashim, Mekarim Be'itlis, sell them in the market, Mishkalim Be'litra, and weigh them on the scales. Apparently, the Kivan, the Ikar Rav Hegdish, since Hegdish will benefit from this more generous offering, Sharle, it's allowed. So Sharla, so why not skin it as well in a most, profitable manner? That also motivate a higher offer, a higher bid. Amar Rav Mari, Braid Rav Kahana, because ultimately there is no net gain by flaying it this way. Because although the skin comes out better quality, but it's at the expense of the basar, which is now chopped up and unpresentable. The added gain and value in the skin, pagim basar, is at the expense of the value of the basar, which has to be compromised along the way. So what's your question? It's ultimately to Hegdish's gain and interest to allow this? No, ultimately the net income is the same. And therefore we don't allow it. Because you're compromising the integrity of the basar, it's a bezayin, to ruin the basar to gain the skin. Second shot, b'ma'rava in Eretz Yisrael, b'shmei, in the name of the Ravina Amri, they said, there's a concern, it looks like you're working with the carbon. Now, of course, it's not literal because it's already after shechita, you're not working with it, but it's a similar concept. You're not meant to treat it like any other animal. It's like you don't shear it and work with it during its lifetime. You don't put it through, you don't subject it to this, sort of commercial procedure, this commercial skinning procedure. It's not appropriate. Rabbi Yasi, the concern is that if we allow this procedure, so perhaps the owner will have an interest in keeping this animal around until he finds himself a good customer who wants to buy this type of skin arrangement. And in the interim, he'll keep the animal around. He'll have offspring, he'll grow into a whole big flock, which is problematic because inadvertently he might misuse these animals, share with them, work with them. We don't want it to be around. We want it to tend to it as soon as possible. And that's why we disallow, using it for the manufacture of this specialized skin pouch. Okay, so in a nutshell, we don't do this margul system of flaying by Yom Tov because of Tircha, by Bechor because of the Bezayin Kachim, and likewise by Psula Mikdashim, either Bezayin Kachim, or it looks like Avodah Bekachim, or because he might be tempted to have it linger around. Says the Mishnah, Bechor shachazay dam. So we know that a Bechor has a Baal Mum, you can shecht and eat it privately, but you're not meant to, you're not allowed to inflict it with a Mum. In fact, it's a Isur D'Oraisa. Pasuk says, Kol mum lo yihi yaboy. We'll see it later. And we learned lo yahayi boy. You're not allowed to manipulate, not go cause it, not go bring about a mum, which is very tempting because imagine the kohen is stuck with a goat for years and years. I mean, it's nowadays, there's no Beis HaMikdash. So it was a very tempting notion to go and inflict the Bechor with a mum, but you're not allowed to. Now, what if the Bechor is on the verge of death? He's experiencing some sort of blood ailment and he has to experience hakaza. You gotta, lighten his load, loosen up the system, do some bloodletting, which involves pricking the animal, which, it could cause a mum, depending on the location. You can do it mum, you can do it non-mum. So which way do we do it? Bechor shachazay dam. Bechor that was gripped with this blood ailment and has to be tended to. Even if he's gonna die, he's on the verge, if you don't take care, ein makiz loydam, you can't do hakaza, you can't prick him. Divrei, whose opinion? Rabbi Yehuda. Rashi explains for concern that Adam Bahol Alamoina, a person is very tight with his money, very emotional when it comes to money matters. And if you allow it, if he's instructed to do it carefully, in a non-mum, non-intrusive manner, his emotions might get the better of him. He might get overwhelmed and just in his haste. Do it responsibly and do it even in a mum fashion. Keep away. Okay, so don't touch him. We'll see that's a sheet of our mayor discussed in the Gemara. Do it, but carefully. Yakiz, you can go do the hakaza, provided he's careful not to make a mum. In fact, Rashi says they take the opposite mentality. They say, look, it's the opposite. Imagine you're going to hold him back. He's not going to listen. And worse off, once he views himself as a transgressor, he's not going to be able to withstand the temptation. And once he views himself as a transgressor, he'll have no motivation to be careful anymore. Anyways, I'm transgressing, I'm no good, right? Interesting, two different approaches to human psyche. Do we say, look, it's too tempting, we can't trust you with it, back off, don't touch him. Right? Because if we allow A, you're going to do B, leave it alone. The other approach is just the opposite. You're pulling the string too much, it's going to snap. Just do it with care. Interesting. Okay. Now, if he wants to do a mum, suppose inadvertently he did a mum. If he can't shech the animal, you have to wait for another mum. We'll see later in the Gemara what you do. Because this mum was inflicted by you. So although you had the right to do it, to salvage the animal, but you can't rely on this mum to shech the animal. Reb Shimon Omer, he takes a step further. Here's a third opinion. On the far side of the spectrum, he says, Yakiz, do the yakaz, by mum, even though you know it's going to bring a mum. Why? Rashi says, because it's not miskaven. It's not his intended objective. He's trying to save the animal, so it's allowed. So we have a brayso, which pretty much repeats the same opinions with different names. So basically, the Bechor is in trouble. Yes, hakaza. No hakaza. Sometimes, right? With three shittas. Bug off. Do it under all circumstances. And third shittas, do it carefully. Same shittas we have in the brayso. Bechor shachazay dam, makiz nois hadam. B'malkim she'enoisin by mum. Do it in a way that does not create a mum. Ve'en makiz nois hadam, but don't do it in a manner b'malkim, in a location in his body she'oisin by mum, which generates mum. That's the shita divrei meir, which is the chachamim in the Mishnah as well. V'chacham Aimrim, this is the shita of Reb Shimon in the Mishnah. Not to worry, that's not your objective. Af b'malkim she'oisin by mum, even though you know it's going to create a mum, not an issue. But b'vad shleishach deis mum, but you can't rely on this mum to do the shchita. Reb Shimon Aimer, he takes it a step further. Af nishchat alois mum. Listen, end of the day, it has a mum, and it was legally afflicted. You were trying to save the animal, so once it has a mum, we disregard the cause of the mum. We know it was you; it doesn't matter. Now the animal has a mum. Go and shecht it. Here comes Rabbi Yehuda Aimer. Back off completely. Afilu meis, even if it's going to cause the animal's death, don't touch him. Ein makizn leisata. Okay, Masli Reb Lezer Lebrei. Reb Lezer was sitting with his son and teaching him. I found an interesting correlation, interesting link between the Shittas in this brisa, yes, no, sometimes, to a different machlekes, which also speaks about yes, no, sometimes. Machlekes kan, the same machlekes we have here. Likewise, in a barrel of truma. This is not. We have a mishnah. Chavish al truma shenol b'safik. Truma, a barrel filled with truma wine. Shenol b'safik truma. Something occurred, some lizard flew by, did it touch, did it not, you're not sure. At this point, you can't eat the truma. What do? Do we just leave it in the state of limbo? Regular truma, which is edible, you have to watch it and care for it, ensure that it doesn't become tummy. But what about this one? We have three opinions. Rabbi Lezer Eimer, he says, even though technically it's useless at this point, we have to care for it. You have the same responsibility as per regular truma, as edible tahar truma. In fact, if the barrel is sitting, open, exposed to the elements, you have to put it in a safe place to ensure that it does not get involved with, tummy materials. If it was uncovered, you have to cover it. So the Gemara soon will tie this with Reb Meir's Shita. By the Bechor who's in trouble, you could do the Akaza, but carefully. Ensure that it doesn't make a mum. Here as well. The Chavis of Truma, you got to look after it and guard it. Rabbi Shoimer, they're like the Rabbanon before, which say, listen, in any case, the Bechor is about to die, do whatever you need to save it, even if it involves a mum. Likewise over here, this truma at this point is inedible. Right? It might be tummy. May as well cause it to really become tummy and then use it for a ziluf. Ziluf is where they would sprinkle it on the dust to keep the dust out. May as well. Otherwise, it's useless. It's the opposite. We'll sit in a guarded place. Open it up to the elements. Put it outside. If it was covered, you got uncover it. At least you'll salvage it. You'll have some use out of it. It's tamei, now you'll use it for ziluf, which you couldn't do before then when it was perhaps not tamei. You couldn't just waste it on the ground. So at least do something which will give you some benefit. Status quo. Leave it alone. Don't tinker with the circumstances. Leave it where it is. Which seems to be in line with Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah, which says, leave the Bechor alone. Don't get involved. Okay, so Rab Meir, whereby the Bechor says you can do the Hakaz on the sick Bechor in a careful manner, but you can't proceed if you know it's going to cause a mum. You can't ruin him. It's Rabbi Lezer. It's like Rabbi Lezer who says by the problematic truma, but you can't cause it to become tummy, even if that's going to make it useful. It's not allowed. Rabbanon who say, do whatever you want, do whatever you need to save the Bechor, even if it means making a mum. Rabbi Yeshua, like Rabbi Yeshua says, do whatever you need to make this material useful. Right? So cause it to become tummy, then you can use it for sprinkling on the dust. Rabbi Yehuda who says, back off from the sick Bechor, don't get involved. Kiram Gamliel who says, back off from the truma. Okay, so these two discussions aligned? No, says the Gemara, I have 5 points of distinction to differentiate between the two discussions. They're not based on the same logic. Mimai, perhaps Dilma. How do you know? Perhaps Dilma Adkan Kamar Rameh Hassam. El the covered be a dime. Perhaps the reason why Rameir in the Mishnah says you can't make the hakaza on the Bechor if it's going to cause a mum. That's because he's doing it manually. He's actually doing it directly. So that's not allowed. But over here by the truma, the grandma is just causing. He's putting it outside. It's just an indirect cause. Perhaps Kirabi Yoshuv Yitzri would hold like a sure that it's allowed. Number 2, perhaps you can say that it's only there by the truma. The Rebbe Lezer says, you can't expose it, you have to guard it. You know why? Because it has potential to actually be drunk. How? Imagine Eliyahu comes along and says, actually it's Torah. So it could be, it has potential to be treated as Torah. It can't be Matam. But by the Bechor, if you just leave it as is, it's going to die. Perhaps even he would agree to Rabbanan and do whatever you need to save it. Number 3, perhaps only over here. By the Bechor, the Rabbanan allow you to do whatever you need, whatever it takes. Because the Yishavik, because if he leaves it the way it is, Ma'is will die. By the Truma, who says? Maybe tomorrow morning you'll have a visitor. Shema Yahweh Eliyahu, and he'll say that it's Tari Tarana. So you have no right to cause it to become Rabbi Lezer really. Perhaps they would agree to Rabbi Lezer. Guard it with all your might. Awaiting the distinguished visitor. Furthermore, perhaps only over here the Rabbi says, back off from the Bechor, leave it alone. You have no right to cover your dam, because otherwise you're manually making a mum, that's not allowed. But by the barrel, the grama is just causing. For Rabbi Shua, perhaps he would go like Rabbi Shua, it's allowed. Next, you know what Rabbi Gamliel says? Leave it alone by the barrel. Again, because he's counting on Eliyahu Navi. The Shema Yahweh Lo Tarena. But by the Bechor, well, you see, inevitably it's going to die. The Yishavik Lemayis. Maybe he would agree to Rabbanan. Do whatever you need to do. Okay, so we have many points of distinction between these two discussions. Furthermore, in actuality, they're both based on psukim, and each one has its own source. The difference of opinion by Bechor is based on a pasuk, and likewise, the difference of opinion is by the truma. As follows. So let's focus first on the Bechor. Now, the Bechor, Shachazei Dam, is a sickly Bechor. Rashi says, for all practical purposes, we treat him like a balmum. On the second wide line, by the bottom, second wide line, Rashi says, can you have a greater balmum than an animal that's about to die? So, it's really a halacha question, conceptual question. Are you allowed to inflict another mum on a Bechor, which in any case is unhealthy and is already considered like a balmum? Maybe, yeah. I'm not transforming, I'm not changing his status. He's already balmum. Yeah, I can't put a mum on a tam, but here it's already somewhat of balmum to begin with. That's the question. So that's the concept on which the entire Mishnah revolves. That's the machlekes. So first we go to other topics, and we'll come back to the issue of inflicting a Bechor with mum. How come we all agree? We know that by a mincha it's meant to stay non-chametz. Suppose the first fellow, generated a chametz dough. He's liable to malchus. Then the second fellow comes and forms it and bakes it. Is he also chayiv? Or should we say, look, it's already chametz, what am I adding? He engages in the mincha and processes it to the next step in a chametz fashion after it was already made chametz by the first fellow. So each individual is chayiv separately. The pasuk of a chametz shouldn't be baked chametz. After already saying it shouldn't be made chametz, why add chametz? I tell you, you're liable for each step along the way. So even though it's already chametz, each involvement, each step of development carries another liability. Likewise, if a fellow injures the reproductive organs of the animal, sirus makes it sterile, after it already experienced somewhat of a sirus by the first fellow, he's chayiv again. Because each step exacerbates, each step develops a further and carries its own liability. The chsiv, as the pasuk says, a moch, a chassis, a nasa, a karetz. Now the question is, if karas, which means that the fellow injured the baits and cut the baits and the testicles inside the pouch, left them in the pouch, he's very liable for that. Imal karas chayiv for that basic sterilization. Al noisel lekosh can certainly be completely detached and removes it from the animal. So why mention liability for noisek after it already went through chorus. To tell you that even if he adds the noitek after it's already chorus, he chopped, which makes it sterile, and then he goes and he's noitek, that also carries its own liability. So, regarding the double chima, double series, all agree is chayiv. We have psukim. The question is regarding adding a mum to a balmum. Machlekes is only in our case. El b'mata mum b'balmum. We're allowed to inflict a mum on a bechor is already considered a balmum, such as in our case. That is the subject of machlekes. Rameir Savar, Meir holds, no way. Kol mum lo yeboy. Kol says even this, expands it even to this type of case. You're not allowed to apply a mum even on a balmum. But Rabbanan Savri, no. It's only an issue when you're transforming a tam to balmum, making him unsuitable for akrava, but he's already off the track. He's already a balmum, no problem. Rabbanan Savri, tamim yeler outside. Don't make a balmum from a tamim, but if he's already. For Meir, he responds, "Hi tamim yilaratz. What should we do with Rabbanan's pasuk, which indicates that it's only an issue by a tamim? It's coming to exclude where the carbon was never got to first base. It was a balmum from day one. So he designated a blemished animal as a carbon. In that case, since it never reached the proper threshold of kedusha, it was never really suitable for a krava. In that case, you can make him a balmum. You can add another mum to the existing mum. Well, balmum yikara, if he started as a balmum, pshita, of course, you can do whatever you want. Dikla balmum is a piece of wood, a piece of palm tree. He's just monetarily kaddish. There's no issue with mum there. So it goes without saying. What do you need a pasuk for? Pasuk is allowing, inflicting a mum on a psulam mikdashim after pidyon. So you have a shlomim, let's say they got a blemish, it was redeemed. After redemption, you can do what you want. Why would I think otherwise? Perhaps I would think, since there are some limitations even there, has some residual kedusha, we know it's forbidden regarding sharing it, begiza, avoid and working with it. So perhaps b'mumin nami litzru, or there's a gisa asur lemishtabu muma. Perhaps you can't inflict a mum, but it has some carbon identity to it. Kamash mum comes the pasuk and says you could. But in our case, where it's a proper bechor, and then only got a mum later, it has this element which is classified as a mum. Rabbi Meir holds, kol mum lo yeba. You can't even inflict a mum in this case. And that explains why in the Mishnah, Rabbi Meir says, in the Bryce Rabbi Meir, in the Mishnah it's called Chachamim, that sure, go ahead and do the akaza, but provide it. Right? Be careful that you don't cause a mum. And Rabbi that takes it a step further. He says, well, if we're going to allow this, it's going to get overwhelmed, it's going to do everything, so back off. But the Rabbanan take the opposite approach. They say, there's no issue of a mum in this case, so you can do what you want to save the animal. What do Rabbanan do with the extra expression kol? What's that coming to cover? We're speaking about a regular, unblemished carbon, and the pasuk is teaching. Just as you can't manually, intentionally inflict a mum, you can't even cause a mum to happen. The sign is we have a brayso, mum lo yeboy, and again we learn lo yeh means like lo yahaya, don't cause a mum. We turn to the next Talmud. Perhaps Torah is only banning applying a mum directly. What about causation? Right? He's motivated. He wants to get it out. He wants to get it mum then out of the way. So he's going to do anything. He's going to put a devela, pressed dried fig on his ear and have the dog bite it off and clip the ear. A piece of dough and place it on the ear of the goat. In order to have a kelb, the dog should come along v'yechlena. And while picking off the food, he'll nick the ear and make it a balmum. You can't do that either. Kol mum covers even causation. Echad mum, v'echad kol mum. Whether it's direct or indirect, it's us. But back to our story, you have a bechor which is already a balmum, no issue. Doing the hakaza despite the fact that it's causing a mum. Okay, so bottom line, we have the pasuk, the source of the machlekes, each one to his own perspective. But as we're going to see tomorrow, the other machlekes regarding truma, that's based on a different pasuk. The question is to what extent you have to guard truma, as we're going to see tomorrow. So two things are really unrelated. Okay, so we spoke about feeding the Bechor Ba'amum to a Tameh, B'Shamay say the Nida and all that are not allowed, but they still do allow it. We spoke about Ein Margil and B'Yontif because of Tircha, nor Bechor, nor Psul Mikdashim, for reasons of Bezayin, etc. We're not allowed to inflict a mum onto a carbon, whether directly or indirectly. And the question is, what about a Bechor who is already precarious, he's on the verge, he's considered like a Balmum due to his ill health? We have three opinions. Do what you need to do to save him. Be careful only to do it in a non-mum fashion, or don't take any chances and back off. All the best to you and Atzlachar.